Yes, good morning to all of you. This is the PhD fifth video lecture on induction motor drives. So, simply we revise what we discussed in earlier class. Variable frequency control from current source discussed in earlier class. So, why? Because for controlling the speed of a induction motor from current source, we need a variable frequency and variable voltage. So, those also possible with the help of the current source. And which is obtained with the help of the current source inverter. What is the architecture of the current source inverter and how it will gives the variable frequency and the variable voltage by by the help of fully controlled rectifier and choppers we discussed in earlier class. And also we discussed the comparisons between CSI and VSI drive, which is most reliable, which is not reliable. Like this, we discussed the comparisons in earlier class. And finally, we end with last class with a problem. Yes, so far we covered the speed control methods of induction motor on stator side. So such as the stator voltage control method as well as stator frequency control method. And pole changing method is not, it is in a not a considerable technique. Why? Because as the poles number increases, the complexity of the machine increases, resulting we are not consider that one. And these two methods, one is the stator voltage control method, another one is the stator frequency control method. So in last class, end up with a problem, which is a problem belongs to the stator voltage control method. So how to calculate the motor current, torque, speed, everything if some parameters are given, and how to calculate the motor parameters. So that problem belongs to the calculation of motor terminal voltage, current, and torque at 1200 rpm, and another one is motor speed, current, torque per a terminal voltage of 3. We solved successfully in earlier problems. So in continuation with this, so this the second problem belongs to the stator control. So let us see this problem. A 240 volts 50 H 4 pole star connected 3-phase induction motor has following equivalent circuit parameters. R1 is 0.25 ohm, X1 is 0.36 ohm, XM is 17.3 ohm, R2 is 0.6 ohm, X2 is 0.36 ohm. The speed of the induction motor is to be controlled by a 3-phase voltage controller from 1400 to 600 rpm. The motor drives a pan load having a characteristics TL is equal to 1.4 divided by 10 cube into omega square. Calculate the rotor currents and rotor per unit currents. So for this, there are two cases here. So one is the 1400, another one is the 600. So in some problems it becomes the 1600, but stator voltage control is possible below the rated speeds only. That's why it's not 1600, only 600 it is. So please be remember, speeds less than rated speeds only possible for the speed control of speed control of induction motor on stator side. So let us calculate for any problem synchronous speed. What is the NS? 120 F by P. S is the pole 1500 RPM. So you have to take the case 1 1400 RPM. So calculate the slip, and this impedance of the rotor side as well as stator side is useful for us to calculate the rotor per unit currents, base currents, everything. So rotor impedance, it is the R2 by S plus JX2, and stator impedance R1 plus JX1, total impedance. So total impedance you are calculated and keeping here. So as per the given condition of the torque, TL is equal to 1.4 divided by 10 cube into omega square. The 10 cube goes to numerator. It is the 1.4 into 10 power minus 3 omega square. So omega here in this case is 1400 rpm. So you have to convert it into radians per second. 1.4 into 10 power minus 3, 1400 into 2 pi by 60 whole square is equal to, it is around 30.06 Newton meter. So as per the torque equation, torque is equal to Pm by omega m. So this is the expression. It's the omega m, not omega ms. So substituting all the values, you will have a the rotor current I2 is equal to 13.25 amperes. This is the actual current. So then how to calculate the base current? Base current is equal to 240. Two, that is it is the star connected system. You have to take for phase values 240 by root 3 divided by the total impedance, input impedance 7.894, which is equal to 17.55 amperes is the base current. So therefore, the per unit rotor current is given by the actual value by base value, which is equal to 0.755. So this process is to be similarly explained in for 600 rpm. Per 600 rpm slip is to be changed. So as usual, you can calculate all these similar to the bit one, and calculating actual current, base current, and per unit value. So you can proceed, try to understand. Next, this is the next problem where three phase 50 kilowatt 1475 rpm 420 volts 50 h 4 pole star connected induction motor has following data. Rs is equal to zero point 0.4 ohms, R dash is equal to 0.21 ohms, X is equal to 0.95 ohms, XR dash is equal to 0.85 ohms, and XM is equal to 32 ohms. If the frequency is increased to 58 Hz by frequency control, determine the slip at maximum torque, the speed at maximum torque, and breakdown torque. So as usual here, Ns is equal to 120 F by P. It is the 1500 because of 4 folds. And similarly, the 1500 is to be converted into radians per second. It is the 55 radians per second. So K is the frequency constant. So the supply frequency by rated frequency. Supply frequency here is 58 Hz. Increase it to 58 Hz by rated frequency is 50. It is the 1 point. So therefore, there is a direct formulas here. At the time of maximum slip calculations, almost the stator impedance has to be neglected. So that's why the formulas for the slip at maximum torque SM. So during the derivations, RS dash is also a function, also a parameter, but during the maximum torque condition, you are neglecting the stator side parameter. So therefore, RR dash by K into XS plus XR dash is a direct formula for slip at maximum torque. So substitute all the values and calculate this one. And similarly, speed at maximum torque. So NR is equal to NS into 1 minus S. So S becomes the SM. SM. So you have to substitute SM so that the speed will be the speed at maximum torque. Yes. So NS already here you have to take this frequency 58 H is. And breakdown torque, there is a formula for breakdown torque as per our derivations at the first class. So neglect the rotor stator side parameters and write the formula 3 by 2 omega ms into xs plus xr dash v by k whole square. Yes. So substitute all these values. It is the 231.9 Newton meter. Any deviations in this final values, let us bring it to me so that we can correct it, all of you. And another problem, so a three-phase 50 kilowatts, 1470 rpm, 400 volts, 50 H 4 star connected induction motor has following data. Rs is equal to 0.42 ohms, RR dash is equal to 0.23 ohms, XS is equal to 0.95 ohms, and XR dash is equal to 0.85 ohms, and XM is equal to 28 ohms. The motor is operated with a frequency control. If the slip of, if the slip per maximum torque at the given supply frequency is 0.12, determine the supply frequency, the breakdown torque, the speed at maximum torque. So the maximum slip is given. So the slip at maximum torque SM is equal to, as per our previous formula, this is the formula, and you have to calculate the K here. The ratio is not given, frequency ratio, maximum slip is given, frequency ratio is not given. So at that time, how to calculate the value of the frequency constant. So that is the supply frequency by actual frequency. So you substitute all the values. So the K value has 1.065. So therefore, supply frequency is equal to F is equal to K into F naught. Here F naught is the rated frequency. So K into this value, it is 53.25 Hz around. And breakdown torque, as per our formula, we have to substitute all the values and calculate. It is a star connected system and the line voltage is 400. For star connected, you take the 400 by root 3. Delta, you can proceed as it is. So the speed at maximum torque. The speed at maximum torque you have to calculate. So the synchronous speed omega ms is equal to 120 f by p. So you have to convert it into radians per second. So this become the 2 omega by p. Omega here is 2 pi f. So therefore 4 pi f by p is this formula. So and omega contains the frequency term. You have to substitute k. K is the frequency conversion ratio. So 2k omega by p. So substitute all these values. 167.205 radians per second is the synchronous speed in radians per second. So therefore, the motor speed omega m is equal to omega ms into 1 minus sm. So omega m just now we are calculated 167.205 radians per second. So that should be multiplied with the 1 minus sm, so that we will have a sm is value is given, it is 0.12. So therefore 147.15 radians per second it is. So now n is equal to omega into 60 by 2 pi. So it is the 1405 rpm is the speed. This is the another problem. See here, a star connected squirrel cage induction motor has the following ratings and parameters: 400 volts, 50 H, 4 pole, 1370 rpm, RS is equal to 2 ohms, R dash is equal to 3 ohms, XS is equal to XR dash is equal to 3.5 ohms. Motor is controlled by variable Motor is controlled by voltage source inverter at constant V by F ratio. The inverter allows frequency variations from 10 to 50 Hz. Calculate approximate values of the following per inverter fed induction motor drive. So what are the unknowns here? Speed per a frequency of 30 Hz and 80% of full load torque. Second one is frequency per a speed of 1000 rpm and full load torque, and torque per a frequency of 40 Hz and speed of 1100 rpm. Yes, so you see that the speed torque characteristics in both motoring operation as well as the braking operations seems to be a straight lines here in both first quadrant as well as second quadrant. So let us start from the first bit. At 50 H, what is the drop in speed? Drop in speed is nothing but the synchronous speed minus the actual speed of the motor. So synchronous speed is for 4 pole system, it is the 1500 rpm, and what is the actual speed? 1370. Therefore the drop in speed is 130 rpm. So drop in speed from actually 80% of full load is asked here. So the drop in speed from no load to 80% of full load, it is the 130 into 8.8, so 104 rpm. And also said that frequency of 30 Hz. Frequency has to be changed, synchronous speed has to be changed. So resulting the NS at 30 Hz is 900 rpm. So therefore motor speed is equal to 900 minus 104. It is the 796 rpm. This is the answer for first bit. And second bit, what is the second bit? Frequency per a speed of 1000 rpm and full load torque. So see here, the drop in speed from no load to full load is 130 as usually. So synchronous speed ns is equal to, so that is the motor speed, 1000 is motor speed. So synchronous speed ns is equal to 1000 plus 130, it is the 1130 rpm. So once synchronous speed is known, then frequency calculation is not a matter according to the ns is equal to 120 f by p. So you can calculate, it is the 37.67 h. Yes. So and finally, at last bit, torque per a frequency of 40 Hz and speed of 1100 rpm. Speed of 1100 rpm. So at 40 Hz synchronous speed ns is equal to 1200 rpm, and drop in speed from no load to 1100 is, you see here, drop in speed from no load to 1100 rpm. 1100 rpm here is a motor speed. So 1200 minus 1100 rpm. So therefore torque is equal to, the drop in speed in this particular condition is 100 divided by the rated drop in speed, that is the 130 into TF, where TF is the full load torque. Yes. So now let us calculate what is the full load torque. In the sense, we have to substitute full load slip, that should be the full load torque. So the actual expression for torque, which is equal to 3 by omega ms into v square r dash by s by rs plus r dash by s whole square plus xs plus xr dash whole square. So full load slip is this one, and substitute all these values. and it should be 25.37 Newton meter. So therefore, substitute in this formula, torque is equal to 0.769 into 25.37 will gives the 19.51 Newton meter. So these are the problems. These are some of the familiar problems belongs to the stator voltage control method as well as the frequency control method. So let us start the next topic, which is the closed loop control of induction motor drives. Yes. So the speed control already we studied so far. One is stator side control through stator voltage as well as stator frequency control. Stator frequency control also roughly call it as a V by F control method. So why the frequency control is studied in the sense, so the stator voltage control has some drawbacks, and that too that method is to be restricted to some small kind of applications like fans and pumps where the torque demand reduces with the speed. So that's why to avoid the drawbacks in the stator voltage control method, you came for the stator frequency control method. So here V by F is preferable for getting the below rated speeds as well as above rated speed. But closed loop operation, which was already studied in the second unit in DC systems, wherever you go, either AC systems or DC systems, the intention of the closed loop operation is getting high accuracy, getting good steady state response, and good dynamic response, as well as the better speed regulation. For these purposes, we are going to closed loop operation. But in our syllabus point of view, the closed loop operation of the VSI or CSI both are to be only block diagram representations. Once you are having a block diagram, then you can write your own way. Yes. So you see here, this is the VSI pad closed loop operation of VSI induction ESI pad induction motor drive using a PWM technique. Yes. So and this drive has a capable for operating in the regenerative mode also. So you see here, when VSI operated with the PWM inverter mode, there is no extra arrangement is required. A constant DC supply is directly changed into variable voltage with the help of the PWM inverter, so that variable voltage is obtained with this technique. Now variable frequency is required for us. So the speed of the induction motor is to be sensed by the speed sensors. So it is always compared with the reference system. So the actual speed and reference speed is no almost all the times equal. There is no need of all the discussions. So when there is a problem with there is a error in omega m. So when the actual speed violates with the reference speed, automatically this process is to be starts implementing and then changing the value of frequency. Yes. So this drive generally having a inner slip speed. This is the slip speed and outer speed loop. Yes. So the slip speed containing the a slip limiter and outer speed loop having here. So per a given current, slip speed is fixed and ensures that the operation always between synchronous speed and the speed at the maximum torque for all frequencies. So this drive uses a PWM inverter fed from a DC source, which is capable for regenerative braking as well as for coordinate operation. So you see here, operation point of view. So the speed error is processed through the speed control, which is having PI controller and slip regulator. So PI controller gives a good steady state accuracy and also attenuate the noise. The slip regulator sets the slip speed command omega s1. See here. Omega s1, this one is, so omega s1 is the slip speed and omega m is the actual speed. So the combination of these two will give us the synchronous speed omega ms, which will set the frequency here. Is See what we discussed, that is to be mentioned as a statement here. The slip regulator sets the slip speed command omega s1 star to maximum value to keep the inverter current in the within the reasonable limits. Yes. So therefore, synchronous speed is obtained by adding actual speed omega m and slip speed omega s1 star determines the inverter frequency. Therefore, variable frequency and variable voltage are getting. So VFES is useful for attaining below rated speed of the below rated motor of the induction motor, as well as above rated motor of the induction motor. But already you know the process. For below rated speeds, what can you do in the sense? V by F as maintained constant. For above the rated speeds, V is maintained constant and F is to be changing for maintaining a maximum torque. So therefore, drive has a faster response because the speed error is corrected at the maximum available torque. So direct control of slip assures stable operation under all operating conditions. So in our syllabus point of view, the closed loop operation block diagram very systematically mentioned block diagram only. So once block diagram you draw perfectly, so explanation as per our own awareness we can explain. Yes. So similarly, the second one, which is the closed loop slip controlled CSA drive with regenerative braking. So in earlier case, it is the VSI control. Yes. So in earlier case, it's the VSI control. You see here, a DC supply is directly given to the PWM inverter, so that it has there is no extra arrangement is required to change the system. But whereas here, a CSI inverter operates under the stepped wave inverter mode. So therefore, the drive does not has the ability to change the voltage. So that's why you give the AC supply and keep the fully control current rectifier, so that AC supply is converted into DC supply by the methodology of firing angle control, so that variable voltage is getting, the variable voltage will change the current is. Yes. So current, the intention, the current is always getting through the the this the series inductor by, so that the inverter act as a current source. Is. So a variable voltage is getting, so that variable current is obtained, and as usually the explanation is similar, there is no change here. So when voltage to be keep maintained, in the sense this block has to be maintained saturated, so that we'll process the current controller as well as firing circuit. Yes. So whatever explanation which is discussed in earlier case is similar to here also. So all these closed loop systems are required for better accuracy, better stability, better speed regulation. All these purposes we are coming for the closed loop operations. So the intention of the closed loop operations are generally you keep the one reference pin and the drive will always follow that reference pin. So violation of that reference speed will records the closed loops, and so that always compared with the reference speed and actual speed, and any errors are arises, that errors are processed to the slip the inside the slip loop, that is the speed controller and slip regulator. And once it is to be processed through PI controllers, and then obtain a frequency omega ms. Omega ms in the sense 120 f by p. It is directly proportional to frequency. That's why you are saying here. And omega s1 star, and this is the slip speed, and this is the actual speed. Comparing these two, sorry, this is also a plus, and this is also a plus. Is. So comparing these two and getting the frequency of the inverter. So therefore, basically the closed loop systems give good accuracy, better stability, and good speed regulation. The operation is similar to VSI pad closed loop systems for getting VFCS. Is. So the next method, the next familiar method of speed control of induction motor. Let us start with the new topic, which is the induction motor control from rotor sine. Yes. So the speed control of induction motor is applicable to the slip ring induction motor only. For rotor side particularly, this is applicable for the slip ring induction motor. And the main feature of this machine is that the slip power is collected easily with the help of the slip rings and braces. So that in earlier case, in other type of rotors, the power is wasted. But here, the power generated in the rotor that should be nicely collected with the help of the slip rings and braces. Yes, the main applications of slip power recovery drives are, see here, variable speed wind energy system, variable speed hydro pumps or generators, utility flywheel storage systems, and shipboard VSCF systems, that is the variable speed and constant frequency systems. These are the some familiarized applications of the rotor side speed control. Generally, rotor side control methods are classified as conventional rotor resistance control, static rotor resistance control, and slip power recovery schemes. And these slip power recovery schemes, this is also known as the EMF injected method. So there are two drives, especially in induction motor. One is the static scare based drive, another one static Ramus drive. So let us start with the conventional rotor resistance control. In conventional rotor resistance control, what is the idea behind this method is, so the slip rings, actually slip ring induction motor, what is the specialty of slip ring induction motor in the sense, it has a rotor has a winding, but in squirrel cage induction motor, rotor does not have a winding, a copper or aluminum bars, and that too the ends are short circuited. But here not like this, rotor has a winding which is similar to that of the stator, so that the rotor three winding parameters, three winding connections are to be keep outside with the help of the slip rings and braces, and these three connections are connected to a external rheostat. See here, this is the conventional rotor resistance control. So this is almost similar to the speed control of DC motor. Already we executed in DC motors laboratory speed control of DC motor through armature control as well as field control. What we did there, uh, there generally the variation of resistance either field or armature is manually done. So in the same fashion, it is a very simple and primitive method of speed control of slip ring induction motor is by mechanical variation. You observe this one, mechanical variation of the rotor circuit resistance as shown is, so mechanical variation means by hand variation of the rotor resistance. So that what you, as per you are saying, you have a doubt. So rotor resistance varies how it is changing the speeds. So as per the torque expression, torque is equal to 3 by omega ms into v square r dash. That means that torque is directly proportional to rotor resistance. There is a provision for us to inject the rotor resistance into the rotor circuit, so that we will have a different configuration. So simply, what is the stator voltage control method in the sense? See here. So a supply, a three-phase supply, which is fed to the stator, and rotor has to be changing the voltage. Is so. The three-phase supply fed to the stator of a three-phase induction motor and a variable resistance R2 connected in rotor side. Is so then the speed torque characteristics as shown for the different values of rotor resistance, and the maximum torque versus the speed, this the original value of the rotor resistance at that time, the characteristics belongs to the starting. So if the increasing the value of rotor resistance beyond the existing one, so that become R2 dash, how the nature of the characteristics, and like that you are increasing another R2 dash, so this the characteristics. So R2 dash greater than the R2 double dash greater than the R2 dash greater than R2 is. So therefore, by varying the rotor circuit resistance R2, the starting current and starting torques are controlled. Is so it is a very simple method, but it is not practically used because of huge losses. So advantages of this method: so reduce the starting current, increase the starting torque, power factor of the line increases, speed control is smooth and wide range. There is no harmonics in line. Similarly, the disadvantages point of view see here: reduced efficiency because slip energy wasted in rotor circuit resistance, speed changes very widely with load variation, unbalanced voltages and currents if rotor circuit resistance is not equal. So this is the lecture today. So we will meet in the next lecture, the continuation of the rotor uh, speed control methods, that is the static rotor resistance control. I hope so. Problems are explaining very fast. So any doubts, you come with the interactive session at 3 p.m. Thank you.